That's really cool. I've obviously seen all the imagery, and to me, it looks just insanely fancy, like another level of elegance, which makes sense. You don't make crazy noise when you're like in a very nice environment, right? You respect it kind of. Um, and I think also like it's cool that you're creating this environment for people where not only can they completely shut off and like not be disturbed, but also live like this like empowered next level version of themselves where they're in a very nice place, right? Where maybe everything outside of them, the office may not be that nice. The chaos, like you said, may not be that nice, but you go into do not disturb and you walk into elegance, like what you kind of want in life. You want beautiful things, you want peace, you want quiet. Yeah, that's really cool.
I agree, and I think it's an elevated way to do wellness because we want to make it one. Health and wellness isn't prioritized in the South like it is in a New York or LA or Austin, Texas, right? It's kind of slow to the curve, right? And so there's a massive tailwind in New York. There's a slight tailwind in Atlanta and Nashville and the surrounding cities, but we want to one make wellness proactive. So it's not I rolled my ankle playing paddle or pickleball. I need to go sit in a cold plunge. Or it's not I got hungover last night and I need to go sweat it out in the sauna. Yes, both of those can happen at D&D, but at the same time, it's hey, I feel great and I want to continue to feel great. Or hey, like I'm approaching a certain age where I know chronic things start to happen, maybe I can kind of prolong or mitigate those things. Let me go take care of my wellness. And it's a place that makes you want to be there. And that's why I say proactive, because you go to a doctor's office, right? It's white walls, it's a waiting lobby with a bench that's probably very uncomfortable furniture. It's just a sterile environment. And so no one wants to be in a doctor's office longer than they need to be. But we want you to be at D&D as long as you want. We want you to say, hey, I want every service you guys got because I'm going to be here for 4 hours. Or we want to say, hey, like I don't even have a service today, but I want to chill in you guys' relax room because the AC is good and I love the fragrance y'all pump and the couch is beautiful and it smells great and my creative juices get flowing in this aesthetic, right? Like we want that also. And so the elevated feel and look of D&D is important because it it does so many other things than just a transactional relationship that you have with a customer.
I love that. Um, how do you balance everything? So you n- need to work out and like, you know, be healthy yourself. You have to operate the business in a very healthy manner. You also work. You're also a husband. I'm sure you're also a plethora of other you're a son, I'm sure. Like so obviously there's so many titles, so many layers. How do you balance it all?
Yeah, I mean, the cliche answer, but like the do not disturb type of places, right? It allows me to reset, recharge. I'm a extroverted introvert, right? Where like I really I can put the game face on and I can make you feel warm and socialize and shake hands, but at the same time, I get energy from kind of being in solitude, right? Like having a moment to myself. I have a million things running in my head. I'm sure everybody does, but for me, like it's hard for me to focus on the next task unless I close those loops, right? So being alone allows me to close those loops because it allows me to kind of just talk to myself mentally and figure things out and kind of problem solve. Um, I'm in Chicago right now. When I was living here for a year, I was in Wicker Park and I would be able to walk to the Chicago bathhouse on Division every time I needed to just decompress. That was like the stress ball that got me through 12 months of business school at the number one business school in the country. The mental stimulation I get from doing a lot of things also kind of charges me up, right? Like the fact that I have ideas or I have thoughts and then be able to kind of execute it or try to execute it or at least see where it can go really stimulates me as a person. And so it allows me to kind of find the signal in the noise, if that makes sense, right? Because there might be people who are designed and built to say like, hey, I'm doing way too much. I need to cut two things out and focus on only one other three. Whereas it's like it's a little too quiet here today, right? Like it's a little too inactive. I haven't been productive in 2 days, right? And that kind of drives me crazy. So trying to, in a healthy way, trying to make sure I can maximize my potential, right? I know I have a peak. I don't know what that peak is or when it is or what time or age window it is or how long it's going to be. What I do know, like we say in football all the time, like get your work done early. Meaning like if you take the right read and take the right step and explode off the ball, the rest of the play is kind of downhill from there, right? But if you kind of half-ass step and kind of lag into position, well, now you got to catch up because the opposition is one step ahead or 1 foot ahead of you now, and now you got to work harder to kind of get back in phase. But if you come out the gate, right, like just like a sprinter, if you come off the blocks, it's kind of easy to coast that last 20 meters on the 100. But if you're like jogging out the blocks, well, now you got 80 meters to sprint your ass off while everybody else is kind of in cruise control. And so for me, I look at that with my life where I'm 31 years old right now. At 40, hopefully I'm doing nothing. Hopefully I'm just enjoying the fruits of my labor and can kind of, do passion projects and, be a family man that, is a great present father and a great present husband. Which, I'm a present husband now, but just being able to just double down on that and kind of enjoy the fruits of my labor. So it's not sustainable. I don't think I'm doing this for the next 30 years of, all these hands in the pot. But at the same time, like that's what stimulates me right now, and that's what I long for. I started D&D because I felt like the current job I was in, which was a great career and it was comfortable, but it became too monotonous. I wasn't being mentally stimulated. And so now I look back and I'm like, I'm crazy for doing D&D and keeping my full-time job. But it was like, I remember moments during the week where I'd be bored as, anything else. And I'd be like, damn, I wish I had something else going for me. Or damn, I wish I had something else, a side project I could be like in flow state on. And so that's kind of how I'm able to do it really is just having those private moments with myself at a do not disturb or any type of analogous type of environment. But at the same time, like that first 4 months of business, I mean, I was burnt out. I was working 12-hour days. I lost like 15 pounds because I was eating one meal a day, breakfast, and then I wouldn't come home until 9 o'clock and go straight to sleep because I knew I had to be up at 6:30 the next morning. And you just kind of get, you just kind of get in this rhythm where it's like there's no option to fail. And so now I got to sink or swim. And when you sink or swim, at least for me, is putting all the chips in the table. And so now we're fully staffed in a healthy way that I don't have to be present at all and the business can run and still thrive. I'm not the secret sauce anymore, right? So Brandon doesn't have to be there for me to enjoy my experience because we have staff that are trained from a hospitable lens and lean into that and just learning as I go, right? The first crop of people I hired are not the same as the current crop we have employed. And not saying one is better or worse, but I learned from the first crop, and I learned from the first crop to hire the second crop, and from the second crop, now we're in our third phase of D&D as a team, and I learned from the first two crops. Like the more time that goes by, and the more things we do, the more I learn from it, the more I can be better as an operator, the more we can be better as a business, a small business executing and the more we can learn from current and past experiences to grow in a sustainable way.
Yeah. I don't see you retiring by 40. I see you like continuing on like maybe like probably 40 locations of D&D and moving on to another passion project that becomes something huge. Cuz I think you thrive on that. Like I can just feel your energy.
It's funny you say that. I know, and you talk to people and learn from people who've done it and been there before. And I know that, you know, whenever that time comes, I'm gonna be back to the square one like I was at 27 when I was like, I'm kind of a little too bored right now. But I think the difference will be that like hopefully I have a lot more money and now they're little passion projects instead of a real business, right? Like D&D is a real business. Like I have investors that I have to return money to. I have rent I have to pay. That has a personal guarantee on that lease to my name and my assets, right? So like that is a real deal, sink or swim type of opportunity. And hopefully these next opportunities at 40, right? Because again, I'm not going to sit still, but they're more like moonshots. That if I don't hit them, at least I tried and I aimed for the moon, but at least I landed on the clouds and I got the fulfillment from it, right? And I think that's kind of what the future phase will be. But I'm saying this right now because the past 12 months, what I've been through. But who knows? The next 3 years could be so eventful that I'm like, let's get 100 locations. And now I'm in this crazy flywheel that I told myself 10 years ago I wasn't going to do.
What's the best life advice you've ever received?
Yeah, I think m- my upbringing in sports, right? I was under recruited in high school. I was a two-star athlete out of 5 stars. So essentially like the um, very bottom of recruiting standards. And went to my senior year with no college scholarships, with the dream to play college football because my dad played college football, and I wanted to chase him. And going into my senior year, my dad said, "We're going to do everything we can, or I'm going to do everything I can, and as long as you meet me with that same energy, you can control your own destiny, right?" And so one of those things was that summer going into my senior year, we went to like 5 or 6 camps around the Southeast at just different colleges to do football camps just to get in front of the coaches so they could at least know who I was. The second thing was, and this is in 2010, the second thing was he hired a videographer to record all 10 of my games my senior year. And after each game, we would send that DVD out to those 5 colleges we went to that summer, right? To just double down on the exposure. And what that um, did for me is one, it showed me that like someone's believing in me and someone's putting a lot of faith in me and the resources and investment in me. So I don't want to let them down. So it made me play as hard as I could from the first snap to the last snap each game. But it also taught me that like because the end of that story was in February, 3 days before National Signing Day, I ended up getting an offer to Wake Forest and fulfilling that dream. But it came at the last second, right? But it showed me that you control what you can control. I can't control that my high school was a brand new high school, so that no football coach even knew we existed. I can't control other things outside of my control. But what I can control is that like when that film was pressed play, I was on every tackle, or I was around the ball, or I was doing X, Y, and Z to at least give myself the best opportunity to be seen. And so I take that through my whole life, right? Through college, through the NFL, even now. Like controlling what you can control, shit's gonna happen, right? Life is hard. And so just learning that at a young age, getting exposure to the hard shit and the disappointments really kind of hardened and callous in me to know that like the worst has already happened. Now, how can I just progress and put myself in the driver's seat of everything I do?
Such a good lesson. It's something that like I'm reading into so much about just controlling your energy, controlling your reactions, your emotions, right?